Hey everyone, this is Duke from DeebzHub here, bringing you some more Dragon Ball Z TCG content. In this video, we're going to go over my Saiyan Empowered Broly FanZ budget deck. If you're interested in Saiyan Empowered Broly and for whatever reason you're not playing FanZ, stick around towards the end of the video where I will cover in the FanZ substitutions for existing Panini Z cards. So without any delays, let's get into the deck. So at the time of this recording, the only MP stack available to Broly is the one from Vengeance. All 4 levels synergize with revealing attacks from your hand for various effects, such as board clear, banishing the top, drawing extra cards. The first 3 levels have constants that impede your opponent's stages when they level, setting them from 10 to 5, 7, or all of their MP or all of their personalities to 7 respectively. Most of the time in this deck you're going to shoot right up to 3 and probably kill them at 3. If you get to 4, I mean, they're pretty much already dead, as many Broly players or people that have gone up against Broly can tell you. He's arguably the best physical beatdown personality in the game. I mean, he's got actions on all 4 of his levels, attacks on 2 of the 4. His AT is pretty high. His PUR is above average at 3, 4, 5, 6. The built-in modifiers rack up damage very quickly, especially in styles like Saiyan and Red. And he's definitely the most fun MP, in my opinion, in the game. I love physical beats. I love stage drain. And Broly synergizes with all of that. But as far as actual cards in the life deck, the first one that I'd like to go over is Saiyan Recovery. Saiyan Recovery is the only setup I run in the deck. The primary reason it's in here is because of the power. This card is absolutely incredible for screwing up Earthball 7, which is run in a wide variety of decks, Blinding Energy move, Yamcha's Rescue. It keeps your opponent locked in combat. They're not going to be able to run away, even if they want to, unless they force you to pass. The 4 endurance is great. You're not going to really target this setup with Saiyan Rescue at all to rejuve it, so when it's in your discard pile, feel free to use it, banish it for endurance to soak up a huge amount of damage. The reveal hand is pretty good too in certain matchups, especially if they draw one of those combat enders that they no longer can use. You know they have at least one dead card, and you get a guaranteed card draw. So now we're going to get into blocks, and the first block is Timer's Warrior's Tool. Not much to say about it. Pretty much everyone runs this thing. It's Omni block, stops all of them. Fantastic. 3 copies of Saiyan Arm Catch, pretty standard for Saiyan decks. Endurance is great. Immediate Raise Your Anger 1 helps Broly advance levels more quickly, especially since this is a budget deck. So we don't run Unleashed, we don't run Dig. So anytime we can get immediate anger on a card, it's definitely worth considering. Next in blocks is 3 Saiyan Crouch. It's an attachable, so it synergizes with Saiyan Backbreaker. You can use it as ammunition. The Rejuvenate after you change levels is great for essentially lowering your anger to level from 5 to 4, because with Empowered Mastery you gain anger when you rejuve. And Broly doesn't like to run a lot of blocks, so these things essentially recur themselves. And finally, for blocks, Saiyan Outrage. Pretty standard. I don't think I've seen a Saiyan deck since Set 2 that doesn't run 3 of these, probably because it's an Omni. But the attachable tutor is really nice too. Again, we don't run Unleashed, so anytime we can get attachables out, it's great. Speaking of attachables, first up is Saiyan Rescue. Pretty standard for Saiyan decks, especially Empowered decks. Rejuvenate 1 when you play it from your hand, but more than likely you're going to Body Blow or Outrage for this anyway. The Selective Rejuve from your discard pile is amazing. You can use it for anger during combat. You can use it to rejuvenate Timer's Warrior's Tool right after you play it. And there's not really much else to say about it. Again, pretty standard. Next up on the attachables is Saiyan Strength Test. Saiyan Strength Test, attached to your MP, you draw a card when you play it, but whenever you raise your anger while it's attached, you banish the bottom card of your opponent's discard pile, and their banish zone gets big quick. because Empowered gives you anger when you play them, and a lot of these attacks have anger on them already, so you could banish 2 or 3 cards per action, and it's essential to beating Namekian, it's essential to beating cooler decks, it's a great asset against Pycon decks. Other Saiyan decks too, especially Empowered ones, it can slow down their anger gain on cards like Saiyan Tantrum or Saiyan Enraged. And I don't run Dev Blow primarily because of Strength Test. And finally, finishing off the attachables and starting the energy attacks, is Saiyan Tracking Blast. This card is here as Unleashed Insurance. It's not, don't let that be misleading. It's here because there's a wide variety of level down cards, especially in blue, and we have Namek Ball 2 and Earth Ball 2 that can lower an MP a level. But Unleashed is everywhere right now, especially in Saiyan style. So in the mirror match, or any empowered or dynamic deck, you know they're running Unleashed. Throw this on and you can protect yourself for at least one instance of Unleashed. Moving on with the energy attacks, we have 2 copies of Saiyan Tantrum. Saiyan Tantrum's screams Broly synergy. If this card is revealed from your hand, you may use a crit. All 4 of Broly's MP levels have powers that you can use to reveal cards from your hand. So keeping a Tantrum in your hand to have consistent crits is invaluable. Having a crit essentially on command in addition to whatever action or whatever the action on Broly's level is providing you, damn near essential. The fact that it's an energy for 6 and hit rejuvenate 3 is even more of an asset to you in combat because you can almost gain 4 anger with this card depending on your discard pile, which you can easily manipulate with Saiyan Rescue and Saiyan Crunch, which we'll get to in a minute. Next up is 3 copies of Broly's Eraser Cannon. Eraser Cannon, it's an energy for stages, which is really nice because we are primarily a stage beats. So an energy with this much utility that does stage damage is invaluable. Banish a setup driller ally, raise your anger 1, hit, banish another setup driller ally. I mean, you can clear you can clear whole boards with copies of these cards. In this meta right now, especially with orange running around everywhere, at least 2 copies. I run 3 just to be safe. And now we're getting into the physical attacks and keeping up with the named cards. We're going into Broly's Face Crusher, 3 copies. 10 endurance, it's thematic for Broly to be able to take a crap load of damage and shrug it off. And that's what that 10 endurance is symbolic of. Face Crusher is pretty interesting in the fact that it doesn't synergize with any of Broly's buffs because the damage can't be modified. But you're not really playing it for the damage anyway. The AT life is nice, but you're playing it for the immediate effect and the hit effect. Revealing the top 3 of your life deck and taking any styled physical revealed into your hand and putting it at the bottom in any order. It's great to mess with your opponent, especially if you reveal a card like Saiyan Grab or Saiyan Backbreaker or Saiyan Gut Kick. They know you have a combo coming, and they're going to be terrified of what you're going to synergize with the card you just drew. And hit raise your anger 2 levels, it helps Broly level up. Next up on the list is 3 copies of Saiyan Backbreaker. My primary intention for running 3 copies was to help against Wallbreaker. Outside of dealing critical damage, there are no tools in this deck to deal with Wallbreaker, and it's also good for an opposing Saiyan deck because they're more than likely going to run Unleashed, as I mentioned earlier, so you can limit the amount of levels that they're able to hop by shuffling in their own attachables. If you have an attachable you don't need necessarily during gameplay, like Saiyan Strength Test or a Saiyan Crouch or 2, Backbreaker essentially becomes a double attack. The damage is minimal at AT +1, but Broly can easily buff it up. Next up is 3 copies of Saiyan Gut Kick. And for the longest time, I have never understood why any aggro Saiyan deck does not run this card at 3 copies. A forced skip is one of the most disruptive things you can do to your opponent. You totally mess up their game plan. You can gain an immediate anger from Gut Kick, they skip, and then you play another attack to level. If they had like a blue head knock or a shoulder slam or a Saiyan burst in their hand, you just screwed up their strategy to prevent you from leveling. And AT +4 damage is nothing to sneeze at. Broly can easily make this thing hit like a truck, and it'll put the fear of God into your opponent for blocking. They're going to be like, do I take an 11-stage physical to the face? Or do I stop it and hope that he doesn't play something else with a great hit effect? And speaking of great hit effects, Next up on the list is 3 copies of Saiyan Grab. The damage it's small, but Broly can buff it. If the personality performing this attack has a higher power level, this attack cannot be stopped, and the hit effect is draw a card. So this card is going to give you anger. If it's unstoppable, it's going to give you another card, replacing itself in your hand essentially, and stages. And it's 3 copies in every villain Saiyan deck that I've seen, because of its ability to generate you more actions and more damage in combat. Next up is 3 copies of Saiyan Body Blow. Because I don't run Unleashed, Body Blow is pretty much essential for getting out attachable cards. And certain attachable cards, like Saiyan Crouch and Saiyan Strength Test, can synergize with Body Blow because their effects would happen after the immediate anger gain you gain from Empowered Mastery. So to give you an example, you can Body Blow at 4 anger. You play Body Blow, search your life deck for Crouch, place into play attached. Gain anger from Empowered. You leveled, rejuvenate the Crouch. Now you're at whatever level you are now with 1 anger to help push you up in levels, or that 1 anger that you gained from Body Blow can be used for Strength Test to trigger a clutch banished from the discard pile. The AT plus 3 stages is nice, but again, it's really just here for attachable utility. Next up on the list is one of my favorite cards in Saiyan. It's highly underrated in my opinion, Saiyan Crunch. It's a physical for 1 life, but you are not playing this for the damage. You're playing it for its amazing hit effect. This card is the closest thing Saiyan has to Red Heel Kick, where you can set your anger to 0 and banish 10 cards from your discard pile to choose any styled attack and place it into your hand. It's just clutch. If you have a Saiyan Elbow Drop in your discard pile that you took as damage, grab it. You want to Saiyan Grab, chain more actions, grab that. You want to Saiyan Severing Punch to slow down their MPPV or to prevent an Unleashed, go ahead and do it. And I know that hit effect may seem kind of steep, but because this card has Raise Your Anger 1 as an immediate, Empowered will give you 2 immediate anger, so you could level with this card, and then you don't have to set your anger at all, you just have to banish 10. The setups, the blocks, some of the named cards, you can just banish them. In actuality, the cost from your own discard pile is relatively minimal. If your opponent passed, this attack cannot be stopped, so you can chain this with other unstoppable attacks and potentially blow through an opponent's Time's Warrior's Tool, which is amazing. I mean, the look on people's faces when you crunch for Grab or crunch for Terrifying Strike or even crunch for Crunch. My friend Anthony Gonzalez, he's Captain Crunch at his locals. He'll crunch for game at level 4 and just do a lot of unstoppable chip damage to wear him down. So it's a great card. I don't think it's a 3 of in every Saiyan deck, especially not every Broly deck, but I could consider teching it in at 2 copies in other Saiyan decks, just for the hit effect. But what should be a 3 of in every Saiyan deck, Saiyan Severing Punch. The immediate effect stops, or prevents rather, MPPV, other slimy anger decks. The hit effect stops Unleashed, stops Ball 2, Blue Neck Beam, Blue Knee, Red Jump Kick. If you hit on a turn that you declared combat, you could potentially get 3 turns where you do not have to worry about being leveled down. And that kind of comfort you cannot get on any other card. The damage and the endurance is just, it's extra, really. Even if the damage was like AT plus 2, I'd probably still run this at a 3 of. It's excellent. Saiyan Face Strike at 3 copies. Raise your anger 2 levels. If it's stopped, you draw a card. If there is like an orange Burning Aura Drill, or a Floating Time as Warrior's Tool, you can throw this out, gain 3 anger, 2 plus 1 from the mastery, and get a card draw. So even if you're not hitting with this, maybe you could draw into a Crunch or a Grab or a Terrifying Strike that you could later make unstoppable. Hit, lower your anger 2 levels. Just play this card when you're at 2 anger, or 3 anger, so you can get 2 and then the 1 to bleed over. The hit effect then becomes there's no negatives to it. It might as well be blank. It's a very situationally timed card, but that specific situation happens way more often than you might initially think. Moving on, we have 3 copies of Saiyan Trample. Saiyan Trample is a huge inhibitor to decks that just want to blindly level. Red Ascension, Orange Retribution, or Namekian Knowledge Anger decks, you throw this down, when they level, they're not going to 10 stages above 0. They're going to 0. And combined with Broly's level 1 through 3 constants, you can choose the order. So you can have Trample set them to 0 and then have Broly make them lose 5 or 7 stages. So you can mill them too. The AT plus AT is gigantic block bait because at Broly's higher levels you can make this thing hit for 12, 15 stages easily and then hit Rejuvenate 1. It's nice little discard pile cleanup, potentially a 2 anger card. Next up is Saiyan Elbow Drop at 3 copies. It's a double attack, it does a great amount of damage. It costs a stage to use each time, but with Empowered stage gain, stage management should not be an issue as long as your other attacks are connecting. So I usually like to save Elbow Drop for the end, unless I want to throw it out to taunt them, essentially, keep it in play, so then they know the other one is coming and they might be hesitant to block other attacks. Alright, another one of my favorites that I don't see a lot of people run is Saiyan Terrifying Strike. If your opponent's gain stages this combat, this attack cannot be stopped. The damage is high, AT plus 4, and hit raise your anger 1. So it's another 2 anger card combined with Empowered. The gaining stages thing, it's happening a lot more in a wider variety of decks. Red Ascension decks gain stages constantly, Saiyan Empowered decks gain stages constantly, Black Conflict can choose to gain stages, Blue has cards that if they're discarded from your hand by either Protective Mastery or Resolute Mastery, certain name cards and certain MP effects gain stages. So I've had this become unstoppable on multiple occasions, and it brings a huge smile to my face when that happens, but otherwise it's a solid 2 anger card. Alright, Saiyan Spin Kick is next up as a 3 of, and it's a 2 anger swing. Printed 2 anger swing. It'll give you 2 anger and Empowered, lower their anger 1, and you destroy an ally. And we don't run any of our own allies, so this immediate effect will never be a detriment. 2 endurance, AT plus 3 stages. I think this card is staple status unless you're running your own allies, but if you're an MP like Cell, for example, you can get your allies back from the discard pile no problem, so this could find a home in there too. Excellent card. And finally on the deck list is the Soul FanZ Edition Saiyan Legendary Strike. The parenthetical, for the same reason as Saiyan Tantrum, you can keep this card in your hand the entire game and have on-demand crits. Playing it as an Omni-Prevent is nice. I haven't really used it a whole lot, honestly, for the Omni-Prevent, but playing it also gets the lower your anger 2 from the immediate effect. So if they play a 2 anger immediate attack like Orange Eruption or Red Pound, you can just nullify that anger gain. And the 2 endurance, AT plus 4, both great additions to the deck as far as damage and damage prevention. And that is it. That is the deck. If you're looking for a list of the cards that's in an easier to read format, I will have the deck list in this video description. If you are not interested in running FanZ, the 3 copies of Saiyan Legendary Strike, I would probably swap them in for 3 copies of Saiyan Left Kick to make up for the damage, give you another anger and some more endurance. If you didn't want to throw in a new card altogether, then I would probably add a 3rd Saiyan Tantrum and probably 2 Pulverize, because Pulverize is just a really techy card, and you can combine with Saiyan Rescue, you could loop things like Broly's Eraser Cannon and Saiyan Spin Kick. Thank you for watching this deck list video. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you disliked the video, hit the thumbs down and tell me why. I'm looking to improve. Deebz Hub is looking to improve. And consider subscribing for some more Dragon Ball Z TCG content to include deck lists, match uploads, commentary about the state of the game, certain card previews maybe, fingers crossed, event coverage like East Kai on May 27th, you should go to that, and player interviews. I'm thinking about getting some of the local guys on the channel to talk about their decks or their unique take on the meta and certain cards. So yeah, there's a lot of content coming, guys, over the summer and throughout the lifespan of the game. So thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.